this tutorial we're going to be learning how to crochet the star stitch. Some people also call this the daisy stitch or the Marguerite stitch. Whatever its name is, it's easier than it looks, so let's jump in. For this stitch I recommend going up a hook size than you usually use for your yarn. I'm using a 4.5mm hook and a DK weight yarn. Start by making a slip knot using your preferred method, and then your starting chain needs to be an even number. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to go for 18. So there's my starting chain finished and we're ready for row 1. For row 1, I recommend that you work into the back loops of the chain here like this. It just gives a slightly neater edge than working into any of the other loops of the chain. So we're now going to learn how to make a star stitch, and the first star stitch of every row is slightly different to all of the other star stitches on the row. So let's work this together. Skip the first chain, then put your hook into the next chain, so the second chain from the hook into that back loop. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Make sure this loop is not too tight. Now repeat this 4 more times, so into the next 4 chains. So I'm putting my hook into the next chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. Hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. So you should now have 6 loops on your crochet hook. To finish off the star, yarn over and pull through all 6 of those loops. So that's our first star stitch made, and you can see it kind of looks like half a daisy or half a star here, because on the second row we come and fill in this top part of the star. Next, chain 1, and then we're going to make another star stitch, but we don't have chains here anymore. We've got this side of our last star stitch, so we're going to be putting our hook into the side of the star. So for the first loop, put your hook into the centre of the star here, so under that loop there. Yarn over and pull up a loop. For the next loop, we're going under this leg of the star here, so under this loop here. Yarn over and pull up a loop. For our next loop, we're going to go into the same chain as the last leg of our previous star stitch. So I'm going back into this chain here. So I've now got 4 loops on my hook, and to make the star stitch I need 6 loops. So I'm going to go into the next 2 chains to do a yarn over. So I'm putting my hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, then my hook into the next chain again, yarn over and pull up a loop. So there's now 6 loops on my hook, so I know I've done the right amount for my star stitch. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. So let's work another star stitch together. Chain 1, then put your hook into the centre of the star, yarn over, pull up a loop, put your hook into the last leg of this star here, so in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, put your hook into the same chain as the last star stitch, so that chain there, yarn over, pull up a loop, then put your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. You should now have 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 6 loops, then do a chain 1. So repeat these steps all the way along the row, doing a star stitch then a chain 1 until you get to your final chain and your final star stitch. If you would like to see this again, you can rewind and slow down using your YouTube settings. So I will meet you at the end of row 1 and I'll show you what we do differently for our last star of the row. So I've continued working across my row, and my final star stitch, the last leg of it, went into my final chain. So usually with the star stitch now we would finish with a chain, but because this is the last stitch of our row, to close up any holes that might be caused by making a chain here, instead of making a chain we're going to make a half double crochet back into the same chain as the last leg of our star stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, so I've not done a chain here at all, yarn over, put my hook into that final chain again, yarn over, pull up a loop. I've now got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that just gives us a much neater edge than a chain does. So let's move on to row 2. So for row 2 and for all even rows going forwards, start with a chain 2, then turn your work over. That chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Next, work 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So this stitch here, this one we're going into, is at the centre. If I turn this over, so it's at the centre of our start and it's technically the top of this last half double crochet. So that's where I'm working my first stitches into, and I'm going to work 2 half double crochets into that stitch here. So 2 half double crochets here, 1 and 2. We're then going to skip the next stitch and into the stitch after that, which again is the centre of a star from the row below. So we're always working into the centre on this row. So I'm skipping this stitch here, and into that chain there I'm going to work 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2. So repeat that all the way along your row, skipping 1 and then working 2 half double crochets into the next chain, all the way along until you've worked 2 half double crochets into that final chain there, and you've got a couple of stitches left to work, and I'll meet you here and I'll show you what we do at the end of this row. So I've continued working along, working those 2 half double crochets into each chain, and I'll just show you what the front of the stitch looks like. So you can see how those 2 half double crochets have filled in the top of these stars. So let's finish the row together. So I've just worked 2 half double crochets into this chain, and I've got some stitches here left. This stitch here is actually one of my chains, and then this stitch here, we're going to work a half double crochet into it to finish off the row. That just makes our edges nice and straight. So I'm working a half double crochet into this stitch here. So if I show you it from the front, that's where my hook's gone into, so the top of this star here. This just gives us a nice edge. So I'm working a half double crochet. So we're now ready to start row 3, and you have 2 choices here. You can continue on with the same colour like I'm going to do in this tutorial, or if you want to, you can fasten off this colour and change colours here. If you change colour every 2 rows making this stitch, then you end up with this beautiful stripy effect. So to start row 3, chain 3, this does not count as a stitch, then turn your work over. So the rest of this row is essentially the same as row 1, but we're going to be working into the top of the stitches rather than into chains. So let's work this first star stitch together. Put your hook into the back loop of the second chain from the hook, so I'm going in there, yarn over, pull up a loop, and again into the next chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. So when we worked into the chain of the previous row, we worked into the back loop of the chain. You can go ahead and do that on this row, but I like to go under both loops because I think it gives a really nice texture. So put your hook under both loops of the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and repeat this 2 more times. So I'm putting my hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. I've now got 6 loops on my crochet hook. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. Then chain 1 and work another star stitch. So I'm going into that chain again, yarn over, pull up a loop, this leg of the star, yarn over, pull up a loop, the same stitch as the last leg of the star, so back into that stitch there, and then into the next 2 stitches, yarn over and pull up a loop until you've got 6 loops on your crochet hook, then yarn over and pull through all 6 loops, chain 1 and repeat across. I will meet you at the end of the row and we'll work the final stitch of this row together. So I've continued working star stitches all the way along my row, and I've just worked the final leg of the final star stitch into the final stitch. So just like with row 1, I'm not going to do a chain 1 here. Instead, I'm going to do a half double crochet. So I'm doing my half double crochet into the same stitch as the previous leg of the star. And that's the end of row 3. Then repeat rows 2 and 3 until your crochet piece is the size you want it to be. I do have one final note about this stitch, is that the back is very pretty but does look very different from the front. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to learn some more crochet stitches, I'll pop a playlist up on your screen and I'll see you in next week's tutorial.